My sister Vanessa showed up to my wedding wearing a white dress. Not cream, not ivory, pure white with a veil headband. When I saw her walk into the church, I froze. Mom rushed over and whispered that Vanessa was just expressing herself and I shouldn't make a scene on my big day, so I didn't. But that wasn't even the worst part. During the reception, Vanessa stood up during the best man speech and announced she had something to share. She pulled out her phone and started playing a video on the projector screen we'd set up for our slideshow. It was a compilation of all my awkward middle school photos, the ones where I had braces and that terrible haircut. She titled it, "Before Jake Made Her Pretty." My husband Jake just stared. Half the guests laughed nervously. The other half looked horrified. I left my own reception and cried in the bathroom for 20 minutes. Jake found me and said we should just go. We skipped our first dance and left early. Mom called the next day saying Vanessa was just joking around and I was being too sensitive. Dad said Vanessa was going through a hard time because her boyfriend Austin had just dumped her, so I should understand. 2 years later, Jake and I found out I was pregnant. We were so happy. We waited until I was 12 weeks to tell anyone. When we went to my parents' house for Sunday dinner and shared the news, Mom cried happy tears. Dad hugged Jake. Then Vanessa went quiet. She stood up from the table, grabbed her purse, and left without saying anything. Mom texted me that night saying Vanessa had been trying to get pregnant with her new husband Owen for over a year with no luck. She said I should have told Vanessa privately first, so she could process it. I didn't respond. When I was 6 months pregnant, Mom started calling more often. She'd ask about nursery plans, baby names, all normal stuff. Then she'd casually mention how Vanessa was seeing a fertility doctor, how the treatments were expensive, how hard it was on her marriage. I'd say that's tough and change the subject. After my daughter Ruby was born, things got weird fast. Vanessa showed up at the hospital uninvited. She pushed past Jake and went straight to the baby. She picked Ruby up without asking and started crying, saying she looked just like our family. The nurse had to tell her to give Ruby back because I needed to feed her. 3 weeks later, Mom called and asked if Jake and I could come over without the baby. We left Ruby with Jake's sister and drove over. Both my parents were sitting at the kitchen table looking serious. Dad said they needed to talk about something important. Mom said Vanessa was really struggling with infertility and it was affecting her mental health. Then she said since I had Ruby and everything worked out so easily for me, maybe Vanessa could be really involved in Ruby's life, like a second mom. I laughed because I thought she was kidding. She wasn't. Dad said Vanessa could babysit regularly, maybe even have Ruby stay over on weekends once she was older. Mom said it would help Vanessa feel fulfilled while she worked on her own fertility journey. They kept saying it wasn't fair that I got pregnant so easily when Vanessa wanted it so badly. Jake asked if they were serious. Dad said they were just trying to find a solution that helped everyone. I stood up and said no. Mom started crying and said I was being selfish. That family helps family, that Vanessa needed this. I grabbed my coat and walked out. Vanessa started showing up at our house unannounced. She'd ring the doorbell during Ruby's nap time. She'd bring baby clothes we didn't ask for. Once she let herself in through our unlocked back door while I was upstairs, and I came down to find her holding Ruby in the living room. She said Mom gave her our spare key. I took the key back and changed our locks that same day. Mom called me horrible for cutting Vanessa off from her niece. Dad said I was punishing Vanessa for something she couldn't control. I said Vanessa could be an aunt like a normal person, not whatever this was. Mom said normal families share joy, and I was hoarding my baby. The final thing happened at Ruby's first birthday party. We kept it small, just close friends and Jake's family. We didn't invite my parents or Vanessa because I knew it would turn into drama. Vanessa found out from one of my cousins who posted a photo online. She drove to our house in the middle of the party, walked into our backyard, and tried to blow out Ruby's candles with her. Jake physically blocked her while I grabbed Ruby. Vanessa screamed that Mom was right, that I was keeping Ruby from her on purpose. Our neighbor called the police because Vanessa wouldn't leave. The cops made her go, but she sat in her car outside our house for 2 hours. Jake filed for a restraining order the next week.